This podcast deals with issues about LGBT families and trans-specific topics. We would love to hear from you and welcome your questions and comments. However, we will not tolerate any discriminatory language or hate speech, so please, just don't do it. Enjoy the show.
I don't know how hard, there's no statistics on how hard the coronavirus is hitting the trans community, but I can imagine that there are a number of trans people that have it and maybe aren't doing anything about it because it's the trans community is an underserved community in healthcare anyway, and there may not be a safe place for them to go to even get checked. When we were kids, we met at camp.
After college, we got married.
10 years later, we finally had a baby.
That same year, I came out as trans.
This is the story of our journey.
Through marriage,
Parenting,
gender,
and all the changes that life brings.
this is Our Life in Transition. Coughing again like I usually do.
Well, you seem to be pretty well done the coughing.
Well, I mean, there's that.
I mean, unless you choke on your coffee.
That's true.
Good luck. Don't choke on that coffee.
Well, you know. I'm terrified now. I wish we could have licensed the song, though. You're right.
Yeah, I know. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It is. It's the end of the world, people. Welcome to the apocalypse.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Thanks for tuning in.
I'm Rachel.
And I am Shannon.
Thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of Our Life in Transition. So, yeah, the world is ending.
Yeah. You like my outfit?
It's very, trans Mad Maxian.
Yeah, well, we've got to go shopping later. So I've got a sword and...
I especially like the rainbow pocket knife.
I mean, you know, if
for good hand-to-hand combat,
listen, If I gotta cut a motherfucker, I want to do it in style, especially if they're transphobic. So
we have to go grocery shopping later, so we'll see.
There will be. We will not knife anybody. There'll be no knifing each other. I'm sorry. Okay, just putting that.
I have a wand.
Well, I mean, there's that. Yeah. So,
I
mean, magic's not illegal. Knifing someone, yes. Using magic is not.
No, I don't think there's laws against magical battery.
Yet. Magical battery?
Huh?
Some battery with a deadly wand?
Yes.
Anyway.
So, as you can tell, we're going a little stir crazy. We have been self-isolating for a week.
Yes, social distancing.
And it's been an experience.
Yeah. Well, we should clarify. We're social distancing. We're not isolating because
no, we're not sick, but we're not sick or anything. We're just trying to keep away from people, which is my normal state of being anyway. I'm generally trying to keep away from people.
Go away.
Yeah. I was built for this.
Yeah.
I am an introvert, despite what you may hear on this podcast. The only reason that I am this delightful and witty on this podcast is because there is actually nobody here but Shannon. You meet me in person and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't speak to strangers.
Would you be even more delightful and witty if I wasn't here?
Well, Miranda would still be here. But I'd have nobody to be delightful and witty. I would have no foil.
True.
I need a foil.
Yeah. I'm glad that I'm here for you.
So is everybody else.
But so we're going to do a different episode this week.
Yeah, after our delightfully depressing last episode about all of the horrible legislation that is currently being discussed, we were going to do a look on the bright side episode about all of the positive legislation that is being proposed. However,
The world fell apart.
everything has fallen apart. And now everybody is disease-ridden, and so we'll save the positive legislative episode to next episode, provided that there isn't more that we need to talk about with this.
I mean, fun fact, though, some of that legislation, they're trying to push harder because nobody's paying attention, which is cute. But anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit
Don't
about...
look over here.
Yes, pay no attention to the assholes behind the curtain. So we're going to talk...
They're not even behind a curtain anymore.
That's true.
But a lot of them, I bet you, are in the closet.
I mean, well, you know.
Sorry, I'm watching my phone. We're getting a delivery.
Yes.
I'm watching my phone because I got a text message that said my delivery is going to be here soon. So
Yes.
we're going to have to take a break.
Yeah. Just, cover our mouths and Lysol the box.
Lysol the dude bringing the box.
Yeah. Watch out, Cameron. We're going to spray you.
Sounded weird, like we're like a family of skunks or something.
We
spray when threatened.
I mean, that's kind of what everybody's doing right now. That's kind of how the world is. So we're going to talk a little bit about, obviously, what is going on. Some facts.
Coronavirus.
COVID-19.
COVID.
Yes.
Not Corvid. It has nothing to do with crows. COVID.
What is Corvid?
I don't care. Corvid is the family of birds that crows belong to.
Really?
Corvid is or having to do with crow things.
I didn't know that.
So, yes, despite what our president may or may not be able to read, it has nothing to do with crows. Leave the crows alone. Crows are very intelligent. They look scarier than they are. Kind of, although they are called a murder.
Yes.
In a group.
It's very
They
ominous.
are not responsible for the coronavirus. And neither are the Chinese.
Yes.
You orange Cheeto asshole. All right. I got that out of my system.
You feel better?
A little bit.
Okay, good.
So let's talk about what actually is COVID-19.
Okay.
The coronavirus. So the coronavirus basically is a virus that is found naturally in bat species. And there's some theories about how it ended up in people's, but nothing has been actually verified, so we're not going to go into that.
So it's not the crows, it's the bats we got to worry about.
It's the bats.
Son of a bitch.
But, bats can be cute and fuzzy too. Like, let's not give bats a bad name.
Yeah.
It's not the bat's fault. It's not the Chinese fault. It's not it's just a thing that exists. But here's the important thing. Coronavirus is not a bigot. Unlike the people in the administration right now, coronavirus does not discriminate.
That's true.
It can affect anybody.
Anybody.
Doesn't matter age, race, gender, none of that. It is an equal opportunity infector.
Exactly.
Now, people who are older tend to be the ones that are dying from it. People who are older or have underlying medical conditions.
People who are immunocompromised, etc.
Right. Immunocompromised.
People like me.
And me.
Yeah.
And my family. But that doesn't mean you can't be a carrier of it, even if you're not, deathly sick. You could have the symptoms of it and not be deathly sick, and you could recover from it, and it could be fine.
You could be asymptomatic. You might not be feeling sick whatsoever. You might never actually get any symptoms, but you could be carrying it like luggage and then, drop it off somewhere else.
And then anytime you cough, sneeze, spit, don't wash your hands, you nasty, nasty people, or anything like that, you can spread it. And you can have it for up to 2 weeks without having any kind of symptoms and then suddenly develop symptoms. And you could be spreading it around for 2 weeks and not even realize it.
Yeah, so, even if you are young, If you have already paid for your spring break, it doesn't matter. You could still get it. You could still get sick. You could still make some other people sick. So stay home.
Come on, Gen Z.
Yeah, and by the way, for everybody saying, well, the millennials, listen.
We're millennials.
We're millennials, okay?
We're being responsible.
We're in our mid-30s and we're hiding in our house, streaming stuff with our kid.
Millennials have already given up on fun. It's the Gen Zers you want. Life has already kicked us in the ass, and we're done. We have been kicked in the taint by life.
Ow. Ouch, that hurts. But, yeah, so, I mean, I do appreciate that this has inspired so many people to learn how to wash their fucking hands.
Right?
That's new.
God, what were you people doing before?
I just, splash, maybe. Just, or not.
Anyway, so the most common symptoms of coronavirus are a dry cough, a fever, and shortness of breath or respiratory distress. The problem is that these are often symptoms of everything else.
True.
Like sniffly over here.
Mm-hmm. I have a wet cough, though. I don't have a dry cough.
But you have respiratory distress every 5 minutes because of your asthma.
Exactly.
But so these are also symptoms of the flu. These are also symptoms of, other, upper respiratory infections that are bacterial infections, things like that. So just be cautious. If you have any of these symptoms, just stay home.
Yeah.
Stay home anyway because they're telling you to stay home. But these symptoms don't necessarily mean you have coronavirus, but they also don't mean that you don't.
Exactly. So, I mean, it could be any number of things, but it could also be this.
Right.
And even if it's not this, if you're sick, then if you come into contact with somebody who has this and you catch it, it's going to be even worse for you. So you need to stay home. You need to be careful. Last weekend, I stayed home from work before work shut down, but, because I haven't been able to kick this sinus infection that I've had since Christmas, which is lovely. But, if I had, I work with the public, do you think Cameron's here? Do you think Cameron's here with our delivery?
Let me go check.
Okay. Good job, Miranda.
Miranda alerted us to the delivery man.
Yeah. It was weird to
the
see
delivery men's.
Yeah, there were two of them.
There were two of them, but they were keeping a good social distance.
They were. Yeah, we asked, Rachel asked if she needed to sign in for anything. He was like, no, and he kind of ran back down the stairs. Okay.
So currently these statistics, we're recording this on Sunday morning. So the statistics that I have are from Saturday night. So I'm sure by the time that we release this, the apocalypse picture will be much worse.
Yes, these numbers will be grossly inaccurate.
But currently, as we're talking to you, there's more than 22,000 cases in the U.S. There's 201 deaths. That includes all 50 states and the 4 territories, because we still have territories, people, because, imperialism is not dead.
What?
All right. In New Jersey, where we are, there are 1,327 cases as of yesterday night, and 16 people have died, and unfortunately, 4 of those people were in the same family because they had
such a terrible
really,
story.
really terrible. They had a big family gathering, and the mother, the matriarch of the family, and 3 of the adult children have passed away, and there's, I think, 3 more that are confirmed ill that are in the hospital. So that's very tragic, but we expect there to be a lot more cases in New Jersey. Part of the problem with these numbers is they're going to go up, they're going to go crazy, because as people are getting tested, it's going to look like, oh my God, everybody in the world has corona, and
it's not even that people are catching it more. It's that they've had it and they didn't know.
Yeah, the reality, that's what Governor Cuomo from New York was saying yesterday, is that, we want to see the numbers because then we can more accurately track things. So just because it looks like terrible and apocalyptic doesn't mean that these are
Why do you
new.
always hit the microphone with your boob? How does that always happen?
My boobs get in the way. Shut up.
I'm not criticizing.
You'd think you'd be more clumsy with the boobs. You haven't had them as long.
You'd think that. I'm doing quite well, thank you.
Anyway. So the point is that with more testing are going to come more positives,
right.
And it's going to look crazy, scary, and, you know, everything is awful. But
don't panic.
Don't panic.
Did you look at the numbers of the worldwide numbers or no?
Okay, so up-to-date information
boy.
For the world, 318,867 cases worldwide and 13,676 deaths in 188 countries and territories.
Wow. Just to give some context, because I was saying this to one of my coworkers, the last day that we worked. Because a lot of people weren't taking it seriously. That last week it was like 6,000 something last Monday, and I was like, yeah, that's twice as many people that died in 9/11. So at this point, there's 10,000 more people than died in 9/11. It's
yes, yeah. This is bad.
It's bad.
And it's bad worldwide. And also remember that there are countries who are not testing for this. There are countries who are not, now that's on the World Health Organization site. There are countries who are not reporting or not reporting timely.
Or accurately.
There were some countries up till the beginning of this past week, I was saying, like, is this not in Africa? It is in Africa, but it took them longer to report the numbers and get the testing. It's everywhere. It's on every continent, with the exception of Antarctica.
We think.
But this does not transmit to penguins.
Yeah, scientists in Antarctica, just stay there.
Yeah, right. Just
don't come home right now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Are there astronauts on the space station right now?
I don't know.
And
just
stay up there.
There's somebody up there.
Just stay up there. Just float around.
Yeah. So anyway, and I made a joke about the penguins, but this does not transmit to animals. So, your doggies and your kitties are safe.
Yes.
So you should be good. For now, there's some evidence that this might mutate a little bit.
Please don't mutate.
But we'll see. So as I said, we've been kind of social distancing extensively for the past week, and we will continue to do so on the advice of, actually the demands of our governor, which is okay.
Stay your ass home.
But, however, we are going a little stir crazy.
It's like being grounded.
It is like being grounded, except I didn't do anything.
You've done something.
Not worthy of staying your... This is, you know what this is? This is like God or the universe grounding us. They're just like sick of our shit, and they're like, go to your rooms.
You've all been very bad.
Which I get. I mean, we deserve.
Although, surprisingly, I said this morning, I'm surprised. I haven't really heard from the religious nuts blaming me for this yet.
Well, that's because they're trying to sell their snake oil first.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the R&D on that takes a while, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so...
I'm looking at you, dude, with the miracle water. Can't remember his name right now, but...
That fucking guy, Jesus. Exactly. But, yeah, it's... I had a little bit of a nervous breakdown the other day. I'm getting very stir crazy. I mean, part of it is, being stuck in here all day with the munchkin. But it's,
Yeah, well, this week see, where I work is considered essential.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I have my own feelings. But it is considered essential. So I have been working remotely, but a few days a week I've also been going in to check on things. I have the luxury of working remotely because I have a good boss and I have a laptop and I can kind of check in on things. I have a laptop and a work phone and I can kind of check in on things from home a lot of the time. But I tried to show my face because my employees cannot work remotely.
Right.
It's retail and they have to see people, and so I've kind of been feeling like like I should check in on them in person a few times a week. So yeah, so I've been going to work a little bit, and which has left Shannon home with Miss Crazy Pants. And so Shannon has been like a little.
It's and here's the thing. I mean, first of all, I mean, you going out and going to work and being around other people, it is scary. I'm not fond of it, but I mean, I know you gotta go to work, but it's I'm
very lucky that I still have work to go to.
True. I do not. My work is closed. So unemployment, yay. For
if you ever get through to them.
I was finally able to file, but yeah, it's been
that's a whole nother set of problems.
Yeah, my last day of work was Monday. It took me until 12 a.m. on Saturday to finally get through. I tried calling, I tried logging in, and it kept freezing on me. One of my coworkers mentioned it when I was posting that I was having trouble doing it. She's like, I did it at 3 in the morning. So I waited until, you and the Munchkin were asleep, and, I was getting ready for bed, and I was like, hold on, let me just jump on here real quick, and I was able to do it.
Well, I mean, to be honest, with all of the shutdowns, I read that on Monday there were 15,000 new unemployment claims, and it literally crashed the system. So on Monday night, they had to work to increase capacity and stuff like that so that they could actually run the website again. So, and it's bad.
One other little wrinkle that I have is that my name has changed since the last time I filed for unemployment. So in their system, it still says my dead name, which, I mean, there's a little thing that says, have you worked under a different name in the past 18 months? And so I was able to type that in.
Oh, that's good.
But there's actually supposed to be a way to go and change that, which wasn't working. So I expect them to contact me probably Monday or Tuesday and be like, who are you?
Monday or Tuesday.
Well, maybe, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Well, what they did do now is that they've put in time slots for people to, I think I sent it to you, for people to file based on the last 4 digits of your social.
No.
So, yeah.
Missed that.
I'll send it to you again. But, so if your social is between 0000 and 2000, you file between 9 and 11 a.m. and then so on and so forth. And then if you miss your time slot, you can file after 4:30 on the day that you're supposed to file.
Okay.
On the day that you're supposed to claim.
Well, at least they're trying to be a little more organized.
They're trying, but I mean, they're overwhelmed too. They don't have enough staff and all of that nonsense. And I'll be claiming too, because I'll be, working about half time. I'm not working full time because there's not enough for me to do full time, and all of our staff is on skeleton shifts because we don't have enough business.
Yeah.
Because people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're social distancing and stuff like that. So that's good. And I don't anticipate going to work this week because I have a little infection myself, and so I am going to stay away. I don't have coronavirus, but I have a little infection, which is going to compromise me. So I'm just going to stay away this week. But
so you can join me watching TV and posting memes on Facebook.
And dealing with the Munchkin. And the Munchkin is out of sorts because she's used to being at daycare. And the other day she looked at me and she said, I want to go see my teachers. She knows that she hasn't been at work. And she started naming all of her teachers and friends at daycare and made me feel really bad. She hasn't been at school, which is work to her.
I mean, that is her job. It's going there and driving them crazy all day.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's working remotely and she's driving me crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's...
So, I mean, she made me feel really bad the other day because she was just naming all the people at daycare and wanting to be with them. And I know that she wants to be with them. And to be honest, our daycare is not closed.
Yeah.
But we just decided that, I have immune compromised people in my family and, we haven't been entirely well, and we just thought it was safer to keep her home here, even though it's driving us a little nuts. But thank God for Disney Plus.
I have to
also not a sponsor.
Yeah. I have to say, so, they went and did us a solid, and they dropped Frozen 2 like a couple months early last Sunday.
I'm so tired of Frozen 2.
Can I just tell, it was a delight to watch Frozen 1 the other day.
Yes, because we have been watching Frozen 2 since it dropped.
I've seen that movie at least 24 times now.
Oh my God.
She's quoting the movie already.
Oh my God. And singing the songs, and oh my God. I was delighted to hear her sing Let It Go this morning because it's different. But so we have to, part of what we need to do, which we have been struggling to do, is to establish some kind of routine, since this is going to probably be, a while, at least a few more weeks. And, I'm hoping that it's not going to drag on too long, although I want it to drag on as long as it needs to drag on to flatten the curve.
Yeah. My work, when they said, okay, we're going to be closing, they're like, oh yeah, we'll be back April 1st. And I don't think we're going to be back April 1st. And I mean, to that point, that was them closing before the governor was like, okay, definitely this business type, you're closed. Because there were still some places that were just like open and like,
and there's no way you can massage from a 6-foot distance.
Yeah. So, I mean, I work at a spa. I work the front desk at a spa. I'm not a massage therapist. But, yeah, I mean, you can't social distance, when you're massaging somebody or doing a facial. Like, it doesn't work that way. So, my company closed.
It's a smart thing to do.
It's a smart thing to do. And, the governor did say, non-essential businesses on, Monday, provided that you can, have less than 50 people, you can stay open between these hours. And you can, have... Provided you can social distance. Social distance, which, they can't. But there were some places that were just like, that's fine, I'm just going to stay open. And, the other day, he finally was like, okay, yeah, barbershops, tattoo parlors, spas, no, you all have to close. And it's going even further now that, unless you're like an absolute essential business, not you, GameStop, but like unless you're an absolute essential business, you have to close because it's too much. Yeah.
Well, and I understand them wanting to stay open because, a lot of massage therapists and tattoo artists and, stuff like that, they're either self-employed or they're independent contractors, so they don't get the same benefits. Working on commission, right. They don't get the same benefits, unemployment benefits and stuff like that other people get. And so I understand wanting to keep them employed. Mm-hmm. It's just at this point
it's not necessarily feasible.
It's not safe, and it's, not going to help us get through this and flatten the curve enough that we need to do this. And, I fully expect that our business will start to peter off, because I hope that now that Governor Murphy has closed all non-essential businesses, I hope that it'll, not that I want to scare people, but I hope that people will, get the message that this is serious and you need to take social distancing seriously. Because, I was in my store end of last week. I guess it was Thursday. And I don't know, all the days are running together. And the people that were coming into my store were 80-year-olds who needed copies. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're gonna die. Will you please go home?
Well,
and they're like, oh, I just have to do this and my grocery shopping and go to the hairdresser and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, before I go into,
yeah,
social distancing, before I go into isolation or whatever. And I'm like,
no,
but you already are going to get it if you don't
missing the point.
It's already here.
And to be perfectly honest, the amount of people that are just not taking it seriously is driving me up the wall. I think we've mentioned before that we live in a resort area, and everybody from like New York and like Philly and like North Jersey just decided to go on vacation because the kids are out of school and they're out of work. So they just said, fuck it, we're just going to go to our vacation homes. And they brought it down here.
And they also, not that it wouldn't necessarily, it's possible that it would be here anyway, because a lot of our year-round residents are elderly anyway, and they travel, and, so I'm not saying that, the people who have second homes here are dirty or more infectious than anybody else. That's not what I'm saying.
I am.
But first of all, they come down here and they empty out our only freaking grocery store.
Yeah.
We have 2 grocery stores.
The second one's very small.
The second one is very small. But our main grocery store, like, there were people last week, like, from out of state with, like, carts and carts full. Like, people had, like, double carts of stuff. And our grocery store isn't supplied like that during the winter time because there's not that many residents.
Right.
So, like, they took everything, and they didn't have the staff. Even if they had stock, they couldn't stock shelves because they didn't have the staff, because they aren't at summer staffing levels.
Right. I mean, not this past Friday, the Friday before, when things really started to, ramp up, I went in on Friday. After I went to the doctor, I went in on Friday and was like, there's food, there's meat, there's vegetables, there's, they didn't really have toilet paper, but, they had everything else. You went in the next day and it was like empty, bare shelves. There was nothing there.
Oh my God. There was nothing there. And then the following day, on that Sunday last, we actually had to go over the bridge to the mainland to another grocery store and get stuff. And we, got a decent amount so that we wouldn't have to, go, because normally what I do is I stop every night on my way home, and just grab a couple of things. So I figured this way I would grab a bunch of stuff and then I wouldn't have to stop every day or go out every day. I'm trying to social distance. So I did that. And then when I was out at work, on my way home from work, I stopped at our regular grocery store on Thursday, and there was nothing, just like nothing. And even in our neighborhood, look, I know you want to be outdoors and stuff like that, and being outdoors here versus in the city is a lot easier. You can social distance easier, and I don't have a problem with that. It's not social distancing if you start a fire in your fire pit and invite all of your neighbors on the street to come over.
Legitimately.
Like, that's not social distancing. Now, if you want to have a fire pit and you want to have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee or whatever you want to do around your fire pit in your yard with your immediate family,
knock yourself out.
Go ahead. But when you start to invite the neighbors, you're no longer social distancing. That's missing the point.
Okay, so literally, I hadn't been out of the house in a couple days. Well, you and I took a walk the one day, but like, I hadn't like really been like outside of like a block away in a couple days. I took the dog for a walk yesterday, and was being responsible. Saw people on the street, would cross the street, stay away from them, we waved at each other. But then like I'm walking down the street and I see a older guy walk out of his house and he waves at me. I'm like, hello. And then he proceeds to cross the street and go hang out with his neighbors, in their yard. And then a few houses down, there was literally like a bunch of like 20-somethings having like a party with a bonfire. I'm like, there were at least a dozen or so
people.
Damn
you, Gen Z.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like this is, what don't people get? Like, you gotta stay away from each other. Like, this is not the time to party. Like,
and it's not just here, like, on the mainland and stuff like that. I have other friends who live right across the bridge and stuff like that. And everybody's having house parties.
Mm-hmm.
Because what else are you going to do when you're supposed to be isolating?
I mean, have a house party with your kids, yeah. You know, with your immediate family, yeah. Don't invite friends over. Now is not the time to go visit. You know, last week we were supposed to have like a little, college get-together with some of our friends. We have like a little like informal mini reunion kind of thing because we haven't seen each other in years.
Forever.
And yeah, that got canceled. We'll do it some other time.
Yeah.
Like,
or hopefully, if things calm down, maybe after Easter, but it kind of sounds like this might be into May.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Here's the thing, people. Stay out of groups at this point. They're recommending larger than 10.
Stay with your family.
Stay with your family.
Okay, just your immediate family.
If you're coughing, you're sneezing, cover your mouth with your elbow. Stay out of public. Consult your doctor. And wash your fucking hands.
If you have to go out, if you have to go to the grocery store or something like that, and you're not sick, stay away from people. Yeah. Now is not the time to shake hands with people, high five, say, hey, how you doing? And stand in the aisles and chat.
Yeah.
Get your shit, get it in the car, and go home.
Yeah,
have contact with as few people as possible, and hey, don't be mean to the people at the grocery store.
Yeah.
If they're out of stuff, it's not their fault, and they're working and handling money and, putting themselves at risk for you to get what you need. So be nice.
Be nice to them. Be nice to any person of Asian descent that you see.
Yeah, right, because it's not their fault.
Not their fault. You racist bastards. Be nice to your healthcare workers. There's people that have been harassing nurses when they see them like going to work in scrubs, because clearly it's their fault. Yeah, well, I mean, clearly they're diseased and they're going to kill you. Like, calm the fuck down. Stop being stupid.
And also be nice to your delivery people, because I want you to know, all you people who are ordering stuff on Amazon, it's fine. Order stuff on Amazon so you can social distance if that's what you need to do. But remember that your UPS, FedEx, and postal workers are still delivering that stuff. Yeah. And in some case, your Amazon workers, too. Thanks, Cameron. And they're still working, and they're still working the same hours, and they're coming in contact with everything. So when you get your delivery, Lysol the shit out of that.
Mm-hmm. Lysol it, wash your hands.
Or whatever disinfectant you can find, because Lysol is non-existent right now.
Douse it in alcohol.
Rubbing
alcohol.
Whatever you need to do. But remember that those people are out every day, and they're, either they're, coming home every night and, like, disinfecting themselves before they come in contact with their family. Or in some cases, if they have an immune-compromised person at home, one of our delivery drivers, one of our UPS drivers, has a new baby.
Mm.
And he's not going home.
That's tough.
Because he doesn't want to bring anything home that could potentially harm his family. And there are people who have to work and have to be out, doctors, nurses, people on the front lines who are essential people who cannot go home to their families because they will make them sick, or they're afraid that they will carry something home and make them sick.
And when this is all over, all the people that you didn't think were worth $15 an hour, remember this, because they're out there keeping us all afloat.
And also shout out to our teachers, because I know a lot of people who have school-age children who are trying to homeschool them right now. Shout out to the teachers, because people did not realize what you go through.
I love all the memes that are like, my kid's acting crazy, and then the teacher's response is like, oh, really? Your kid? They're never like that in my class. What are you doing wrong?
Yeah, right?
But yeah, I mean,
teachers are worth $1 billion. I mean,
I guess
they deal with your crazy ass kids all day, every day, and try to impress knowledge upon them.
I mean, I guess the point here is don't go out unless you have to. If you're sick, seek medical attention.
But don't expect to be tested.
Don't expect to be tested necessarily. They're working on it, but yeah. And just be smart, be respectful of other people, and just stay home.
So what does this have to do with the LGBT community and trans people specifically?
Well, here's one of the things, and I felt this a little bit, but a lot of my friends that I've talked to are having a tough time. It's, there are a lot of people that are losing safe spaces. They're not able to go and spend time with accepting friends. Unfortunately, there's some people, I'm sure, that are at home with people who are not accepting, that it's not safe to be themselves around, and not just necessarily in the LGBT community. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are in unsafe
domestic
situations.
There are kids who do not have safe spaces, at home that school is a refuge for, and they are stuck at home.
You keep in mind too that there are resources still available. There's still resources available for, if you're in a bad domestic situation, if you are having any kind of ideations, Trans Lifeline is still a thing. Those resources are still there. I'm sure they're a little stressed and strained at this point, but it's hard on a lot of people.
And a lot of people are missing like therapy appointments and things like that.
Yeah.
There are some therapists who have moved to telemedicine, but not all therapists can get. One of my therapist friends was working for probably 10 days to 2 weeks to get insurance approval so that the tele sessions would be paid for.
Right.
Because they also they're working, and their time is valuable, and they weren't going to be able to get paid. So they finally were able to get the telemedicine approval, but some people don't have that, and some people aren't comfortable that way.
True.
It's a different interaction on the phone than face to face.
True. And there's people who have support groups that they go to,
right? That are not meeting right now.
There's people that have had surgeries that have been postponed.
Which is such a huge, mental toll, because you're waiting for that, and you're looking forward to your surgery, and then it's considered elective, and it's not really
elective, but it's
elective, but it's considered a surgery that is not a life-threatening surgery that doesn't have to take place right now.
And it's something that is important for people's mental health,
right?
And there's been different debates about this, because there's some people who are justifiably upset and venting, and talking about how disappointed they are. There's some people who are just being downright shitty and going, "This is all bullshit, and I shouldn't have to have this put off." I get people's frustration. But the purpose of the drill is to keep everybody alive, yourself included, and it's not safe for you or anybody else.
Right. And the hospitals are too taxed right now. You don't. To be honest, if you don't have to be in the hospital right now, you don't want to be in the hospital. People are overworked. People don't have supplies. You don't need to be there. If you don't need to be there, you don't want to choose to be there at this point. And I know that well, I don't know, but I can imagine that it would be, a big letdown and a huge disappointment. And then you have to reschedule stuff. And then, in some cases, your insurance deductible is going to reset, or, or you're going to have to get more of those lovely gatekeeping letters that you have to get, in order to do your surgeries and stuff like that. And it's a huge inconvenience, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. But, it is for the greater good, and it's not
fair.
It's not fair, but it's also
necessary.
you need to understand that it's not aimed at you or your
Right.
community specifically. You know, grandma's not getting her knee replacement either.
True.
Like, I mean,
Right.
shit that can be put off is getting put off, you know.
It's one of those weird things where it's like things just didn't work out vis-a-vis me getting my surgery this past fall. I'd be in kind of an awkward place right now because I'd be really like worried about getting
Right. Well,
sick
you'd
because
still
I'd
be
be really...
doing follow-ups and stuff like that, you know, and you'd still be compromised.
Right.
You know, you still wouldn't be 100%. You would have been off from work. You wouldn't have been dealing with that, but still, you know. But I understand there's psychological effects that go along with that, and maybe you don't have people to talk to, and it's just a giant ball of suck for people in the trans community.
You know, and there's some people that like it's really difficult if you can't be yourself, if you're used to being able to, I mean, if you're still in the closet but you present
outside the home
or inside the
like
home when other people aren't around. I mean, I've had a tough time just a couple days when I've just been sitting in my pajamas and just going, fuck it, and like not getting a shower. And it's, you know, and I've had, you know, dysphoric moments, and I know other people are having the same thing. I've talked to people about it. And
that can also feed in itself, you know,
Right.
That can become a vicious circle because you don't have anywhere to go. You don't have any reason to get, you know, all put together.
Right.
So you don't, but then you feel like shit, but then you don't feel like getting put together, but then you feel like more shit. And then, like, it just can feed on itself.
If you want
and
to
be
get put
really,
together and,
really
and
tough.
it's safe for you to do some, get put together anyway. Fuck it.
Yeah, right? Shannon's all dolled up here. I mean, in her, you know,
Battle gear? Yeah.
her apocalyptic battle gear. We are going to the grocery store later, but you know,
watch out.
But I mean, and the worst part is too, I don't know how hard, there's no statistics on how hard the coronavirus is hitting the trans community, but I can imagine that there are a number of trans people that have it and maybe aren't doing anything about it because it's the trans community is an underserved community in healthcare anyway, and there may not be a safe place for them to go to even get checked. We're lucky that we live in, surprisingly, we have doctors who are not transphobic and who just, you know, treat Shannon with all of her various ailments without an issue. But
and check on me, to be perfectly honest. When I went to the doctor, part of that appointment, he was just checking on me, like, how are you doing? And didn't go, how are you doing with your trans shit? Just like very clearly, like, how is everything going? You okay? What, you know.
Right.
So I'm fortunate in that way, but not everybody has.
Not everybody has that, and not everybody feels like they have that. Not everybody is comfortable in their healthcare situation, and not everybody is covered in their, you know, that they can just go to the doctor when they want to. Trans people suffer with unemployment disproportionately from other groups.
Right.
And so there's a good chance that a lot of trans people don't have health care to begin with.
Yeah.
Because they don't have health insurance. So, you know, all of that makes our health insurance system makes this virus so much worse because there's so many people who have untreated underlying conditions. Yeah. We're not a healthy population because we don't have access. A lot of people don't have access to health care. And maybe some people need to wake up and think about that.
You know, I will say, just going back to just the emotional, psychological part of this, the one thing that has come out of this is people, it's funny, the internet has become like the internet was 20 years ago. People going online and talking to each other and hanging out and messaging and, like, you know, but that is also there as a resource. So, you know, you might not be able to get to your support group. There's an online support group. There are support groups online. You can go, you can, you know, talk to people.
Even AA is doing groups online
Absolutely.
and stuff like that, and
Hell, if you want
Al-Anon and stuff like that. If you have an addiction,
to message us, knock yourself out. I got
we have
nothing
nothing to do. I mean, you're basically saving us from the monotony of one Disney movie after another.
Mm-hmm. Which one's the worst for you?
The Good Dinosaur.
Is it that one or Aristocats?
No, Aristocats, at least it's got music. I can deal with it. The dinosaur one is just mind-numbing.
It was a really good movie the first time we watched it. It was really like
I
this is
enjoyed
okay.
it the first time, and
wonderful.
if I never saw it again, I would be fine. Also, it has taught our child to act like a dog.
Yes.
She licks. She licks people.
It's so gross. She's sitting there.
It's disgusting.
You're on your phone. She's watching her movie.
She just comes over out of the blue and just licks you. I'm like, this is not the time to be licking people. It's gross. So anyway, the government, in all of its glory, is doing some stuff. I mean,
Reluctantly, but yes.
not the Cheeto. I don't even know if he knows what's going on, really. He just has people whispering in his ear telling him what to do.
Mm-hmm. Poor Dr. Fauci. The poor man.
Oh, God bless Dr. Fauci.
Please.
But Congress has done some stuff. So they did phase 1 was that they passed was this Coronavirus Preparedness and Response Act, which was basically a spending bill.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to actually hire people for the FDA because there's nobody there. And also for HHS, small business loans from the Small Business Administration. And it also had a provision in there to allow telehealth sessions for Medicare recipients,
That's
which
good.
was not a thing before this, but I think should catch on.
That's one thing. Like, there's a lot of things that are being done remotely, which should be available to do remotely after this. And that's one. Like, I'm sorry, old people can't get out all the time. They should totally be able to do that with Medicare. That makes no sense that they can't.
Right. And even the pediatrician, I got an email that they're doing telemedicine sessions. Which, rather than drag your kid into the doctor's office for, like, chickenpox or something, which is contagious, and call them up and show them a video and say, hey, look, my kid's got spots, and then you don't have to expose everybody else to, some kind of horrible childhood disease.
Yeah.
And then the second thing that they've done is the Families First bill, which and that provides extra funding for WIC and the Emergency Food Assistance Program. It also provides for emergency paid sick leave for 14 days for people who either have coronavirus or are caring for somebody who has coronavirus or are immune compromised and need to be not around people. It also provided extra funding for the senior nutrition program, which is like Meals on Wheels and stuff like that. And it waived the work requirement for SNAP. So you're eligible for nutrition assistance without the work requirement because there is no work.
Which they shouldn't be to begin with. It's not their fault.
That's for another day. But
yes.
I agree. And it extends unemployment insurance up to 26 weeks. And that includes the federal government paying, so the states don't have to pay. The federal government is paying for that extension. And also provides for free coronavirus testing, if they ever get a test.
God bless Katie Porter, though.
Oh my God.
It's like the tests are going to be free, right? Are the tests going to be free? You can make the test free. Free testing? Yes. We need more people in Congress berating bureaucrats into doing the right thing.
She is a bulldog in the best way. I love her. And I hope she's going places.
Yep.
Because she hasn't been there that long. So they're working on phase 3. And there's some negotiations still going on as of last night. Like I said, by the time this airs, hopefully they will have passed something.
Yes.
But right now, what Mitch McConnell, the turtle, Yertle the turtle, has proposed is what? Dude's a turtle. He looks like a turtle. He talks like a turtle.
That's true. See, if you look like a turtle, though, like, you really need to, like, ramp up how you talk. I know he's from Kentucky, but for fuck's sake. There's other people from Kentucky that don't talk that slow.
Well, hopefully he'll be gone soon. Anyway, so what they're proposing is $1,200 direct payment to each individual making less than $75,000 a year, plus $500 per child.
Right.
And then if you're between $75,000 and $99,000, you'll get something, but it'll be less. It's going to be prorated based on your income.
Right.
For that. And then if you make over $99,000, you should have saved some of your money.
I mean, for real.
It also includes $58 billion in loans for airlines, $150 billion for other large corporate businesses, and $300 billion for small businesses. It extends the tax day to July 15th and waives penalties for withdrawals from retirement accounts for all you good people who have retirement accounts. It also enables, it doesn't defer, it enables the Secretary of Education to defer student loan payments, but it doesn't actually defer the student loan payments. It just lets her do it if she feels like it. I'm not sure, there's a separate executive order that Trump was floating. I don't know whether he actually did that, but he was floating. Why are you playing with my phone? That he was floating to actually defer those payments, but I think if it's left up to Betsy DeVos, let them eat cake. They're still in negotiations. There's some stuff that the Democrats want to add. Or they want to add a payment to people who get Social Security, boost their payments a little bit. And some other stuff, but that's still a negotiation. My personal feelings on this, I don't think it's enough. I think that the airlines and the big corporations should go scratch, and maybe they shouldn't have given so much money to their executives, and then they'd have some fucking money.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, they got assistance, 12 years ago, when the recession started. They keep giving bonuses to their executives. They keep raising the price of shit. Like, Yeah,
where's my $50 extra fee for having an overweight bag going, where's my $50 fee for choosing my seat going?
Yeah. And the seat which you already paid for.
Yeah.
I mean, they've mismanaged their their businesses, which, it's funny, like, you constantly hear about people being personal responsibility, unless you're a corporation, then
right.
Responsibility can go out the window.
Right. Then you can spend all your money on, executive bonuses and buying back stock. So I feel like that $208 billion for all those corporations could go, could be better spent,
yes.
on the people who are actually hurting right now. They're also floating a payroll tax holiday, which is great, except nobody's working.
Yeah.
So a payroll tax holiday will not help if you're not getting a paycheck.
If you had a job,
and it won't help the small business owner who is not writing a paycheck.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe later on down the road, that can be, phase 4 when people are actually starting to go back to work and you want to inject some money into the economy. But right now, not such a helpful thing.
Forgiving all the student loans would also do that too, but that's...
Well, yeah, there's that.
God forbid you do that.
But, I mean, so, like, $1,200 to each individual, if you're a single person, in New Jersey and you have an apartment, it's barely going to cover a month's rent.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how, like, other states have different costs of living, but in New Jersey, that's not going to pay your rent.
Yeah.
And okay, they've stopped evictions for right now, but that doesn't mean that they're waiving your rent. That means that they're not throwing you out. You still got to pay them eventually. And I think this is going to dig a really big hole in a really deep hole in the economy, and I don't think that they're going far enough.
I think it's we'll see how this pans out, but this is, I feel, going to be the impetus to finally push our society to do what it should have done a long time ago. I have a feeling that this is going to get more people on board with universal health care.
And also possibly universal base incomes.
Possibly. I think it's going to push a lot of people to recognize the wage disparity in this country. And
for everybody worried about socialism, the government buying into industries is literally the thing that you don't want.
I love that the Cheeto has no idea what he's talking about, as illustrated by the point of...
I thought he had a degree in economics. Didn't he go to college?
I mean, he was there. They gave him a piece of paper.
We don't know if they gave him a piece of paper because nobody's ever seen his college transcripts.
But
it wouldn't be the first time somebody that around him lied about their resume.
Yeah, wow. So anyway, I was watching the quote-unquote press briefing the other day.
Oh my God.
And a reporter asked him whether the government would be looking to,
invest, basically buy stocks,
buy
shares,
basically become part owners in some corporations. And he was like, "We're looking into it. I'm open to that." To which all conservatives everywhere
turned white as a sheet.
But I can't help but laugh because he has no idea what he's doing. So here's the thing, though. The one thing that I am deathly afraid of is that through all this, people are going to go, "Oh, well, I think he's been handling this quite nicely. Let's give him 4 more years."
And make no mistake, that's what these direct payments are. They're an attempt to buy a vote.
Essentially.
I mean...
Which is funny. It's like...
that's why the Republicans are on board with it.
Yeah, they're out... They're fainting to the left of liberals. Just for a minute. Just so, you're like, oh, well, they gave me money. So.
But they're not to the left of liberals.
They're
because most liberals are advocating for much larger payouts for people who need them.
But as with everything else, you have to pay attention to what's going on. You have to vote.
Also, watch what else is happening. Coronavirus has your attention, but there's other shit going on that they don't want you to see. So, keep looking at, what else is happening around the world and, pay attention to that because there's a lot of stuff that's, like those discrimination laws and stuff like that that people are trying to push through while nobody's looking because everybody's worried about this, You can't stop being engaged in the world and what's going on in the world because you have to stay at home. You have to, now you have plenty of time to call your congressman. What else are you going to do?
Listen to podcasts. Hello.
Yes. But, I mean, you got plenty of time. If you couldn't fit it into your busy work schedule before, you can fit it in now. But you have to do that. Do sign up if you are able. Sign up for a vote by mail.
Yeah.
Because...
We vote by mail.
We do vote by mail.
We're doing it for 2 years.
Don't make it so that you can't go out and vote because you're afraid of getting sick or spreading sickness. You can vote by mail. You have that option. And most places where they're having where they used to have requirements as far as why you're getting an absentee ballot and stuff like that, most places have waived that.
Yeah.
And you can just sign up and say, I just want the vote by mail. And we get it all the time. We signed up for it once, and if you don't say no, they'll send you a ballot for everything. So we get all of our stuff by mail, and we vote by mail, and it's easy. And you have to still vote. You have to vote.
You know, one thing I used to tell people, because in 2018 I was a canvasser during the campaign, and I was going out and trying to sign people up to vote by mail.
Can't do that. Can't do that this year.
Yeah, but the one thing I always said to people was, if you vote by mail, the Russians can't hack your vote because it's on paper.
This is true.
Not computerized, so I mean that's a thing
No,
too.
you can do it in the privacy of your own home while you're paying your bills, or
Listening to your
podcasts, or whatever you're doing.
And while you're at it, also go do the census.
Yeah. Fill out your census stuff. You can do it online. Everybody's getting their codes, but even if you didn't get the mail that has your code in it, you can do it without it. The census is important. Census allocates resources. So they need to know where you are, how many people are in your area, so that you can get the resources that you need from the government. It also allocates representatives. This is how they allocate how many representatives each place is going to get, and stuff like that in government, and you need to do it.
Now listen, I understand that the census isn't perfect. I understand questions about gender and questions about ethnicity and citizenship are not ideal. I get that. You need to do it anyway, so that people can be allocated in the places where they need to be. And also, you need to go vote so that you have the representatives that you need to.
Yeah, so that your voice gets heard.
To district properly.
It's all about your voice getting heard. And to be honest, do the census online, because if you don't, people are going to come around and try to talk to you.
Yeah, so that's not good to social distancing practice.
Well, no, I mean, they're gonna come around like later in the year. They're not gonna come around right now while people are quarantined. But ew, people, just do it online, and then you don't have to talk to anybody. What?
I'm just laughing because I've been a canvasser before.
Yeah, do you want people knocking on your door? How annoying! God, I'd be like looking on the blinds, like holding my wand and like peeking out the blinds, like, why are you knocking on my door? Yeah, like,
I used to get that all the time. I hated it then, but I totally understood it.
Quick, turn off all the lights, dive under the couch. Like, why is somebody showing up at my door? It's very scary. Millennials are not a fan of that. Like, do the census.
Yes.
Online. Now,
we were built for this.
We were built for this. I'm ready.
But
if you're gonna share information on Facebook, go ahead and share information on Facebook. That's fine. Make sure that the information that you're sharing is actually a fact. Mm-hmm. Like, there are so many ways.
Verify your information.
There are so many ways to verify shit before you press the share button. It takes 2 seconds to verify something. Don't spread rumors and cause panic or cause apathy.
You should post a link on how to best verify information.
I'm a librarian. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Make a tutorial. Nobody wants to see that.
I mean, tutorials exist. We can just find one and post that. But I mean,
it won't be as good as mine.
You've got time, so it's fine.
Anyway, it'd be a reason to lock myself in a room for a while.
Leave me with the Munchkin and the Disney Plus. I see how it is.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but seriously, sharing false information does harm. Yes. And it does harm in 2 ways. Either you share sensational shit that makes people panic, or you share shit that makes people apathetic and makes people think that it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And you need to, get your facts and share facts. Mm-hmm. Sharing information is good. It's what the internets are built for, but make sure your information is good information. Social distance. Go to the grocery store when you need to, but keep away from people. Mm-hmm. Do be neighborly, though. If you have an elderly neighbor, family member, whatever, check on them and see if you can get them stuff from the grocery store because, they might need help. So, be neighborly, But, talk to them through the door. Don't, actually breathe near them.
No, you're right.
Or talk to them on the phone and just, leave their groceries on the porch
I
or,
agree with everything
whatever.
you're saying. I just am amused by your delivery.
Well, my delivery, I left it on the porch. I didn't come near people.
Get out of my head.
Don't hoard toilet paper.
For fuck's sake.
Don't hoard toilet paper.
Did you see that video of that fucking woman at the dollar store?
Yeah, buying up all the toilet paper and then reselling it. Anyway.
Don't be one of those people.
Don't be that person.
Don't be a Karen.
Take what you need, but don't hoard. Don't take more than you need. Because there are other people who need shit too.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. They need to shit.
Yes.
And use toilet paper.
If there was any time to introduce the 3 seashells, this is it.
People aren't going to get that.
Some of you will, and I love you.
But so, do what you need to do, but keep away from people. This is not the time to have a house party, a dinner party, a get-together with friends.
Do a virtual one.
Do a virtual one.
Do a Google Hangout or a Zoom.
In Japan, I love it. In Japan, they have this, I don't know what video
Service?
app they're doing, but people are logging on just with random people and just drinking with random people.
Yeah, like a bar.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's awesome. Do shit like that.
Yeah.
There are ways that you can connect with people without breathing on them.
Yes. Go support your artists too, because people are just putting their art out there to help people get through this. So, if you got some money.
Remember the gig economy. Remember your artists and your musicians and, people who can't do what they normally do.
Yeah.
So those people, make sure you're keeping them in mind and, support artists where you can. And
podcasters.
Huh?
And podcasters.
And podcasters,
yes.
we're still here.
Mm-hmm.
We're still here. We're out of work.
Yeah.
And finally,
mm-hmm.
wash your fucking hands, you dirty bastards.
Jesus Christ, wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
20 seconds at least. Sing a
why
song.
is this a thing that people don't know how to do?
I don't know. ABCs.
Yeah, you can do the ABCs.
Never gonna give you up.
You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
We have found out that the hot dog dance, if you're a fan of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, the hot dog dance works.
Fuck that noise. No, thank you.
Look, I'm just saying what you can do.
Well, if you need to get your kids to wash their hands, maybe that's a thing. But God, not the fucking hot dog dance. I'm slightly traumatized. I'm sorry.
Anywho, wash your hands,
mm-hmm.
but also leave some soap for the rest of us at the grocery store. Okay?
Yeah.
You
don't need all the soap.
Wash your hands frequently.
Don't need a lot.
Also, moisturize. When you wash your hands, moisturize because.
Oh my God, my hands are so dry.
But if you have cracks in your hands and you are going out and the virus is on a surface, it can get into the cracks in your hands.
You don't want that.
So moisturize. Wash and then moisturize. Yes. Wash and moisturize. Wash and moisturize. I know that you can't see what I'm doing with my hands, but I'm telling you, wash and moisturize.
It's hilarious.
Okay?
It's just so fun to watch. I wish people could see this. The pantomiming is delightful.
Be nice. Everybody else is stressed out too. Don't make me come and kick you in the taint.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's really just... You found your thing.
This is my thing. This is my thing.
But, be nice to everybody. We're going to get through this together. It's
right.
tough. But, this is going to be it's going to be a defining moment for our generation, but we're going to get through this.
So in the show notes, we're going to put some links about facts.
Yep.
We're going to put some links to there are so many museums.
Your eye just twitched. That was weird.
I'm stuck inside too much. There's so many museums and national parks are doing virtual tours and stuff like that. So we'll put some fun stuff that you can check out while you're, so that you're not just staring at your four walls. And also, if you're a sewer, we will find the pattern for making face masks for our nurses, and we will share that.
Yes.
Because if you have nothing else to do and you're sitting in your sewing room to escape your children or spouses,
Wow.
You can take that time to sew face masks, and then you'll have an excuse to sit in your sewing room and, not just sit there with a bottle of wine. Although I'm not judging, there's nothing wrong with that.
You have this all planned, like...
If I had a sewing room...
Bottle of wine
stashed, so that I could be like, I'm doing projects, not drinking a bottle of wine. I might have a problem. Anywho, next time we hope that we will be able to offer you a little bit more of an uplifting episode.
Fingers crossed.
For those on our Patreon who we owe stuff to, it is delayed because the places that are making them are shut down. But we promise.
We're working on it.
And do check out our Patreon, because there's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That you can get once the shutdown is over.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, thanks for listening.
Mm-hmm. We've got to go to the grocery store now.
Pray for us. I am Rachel.
And I am Shannon.
And this has been another delightful episode of Our Life in Transition. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Bye.
Thank you again for listening to Our Life in Transition.
This show is hosted by Rachel and Shannon McDill.
Our producer and editor is Shannon McDill.
Theme music is Seize the Day by Jens Kiilstofte. Check him out at jens.kiilstofte.net.
Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/olitpod. That's /OLITPOD.
Your support makes this show possible. Thank you.